Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the ModeCast. It's Wednesday night, September 2nd, and me and Ryan are with our good friend Abraham.
What's up?
Me and Abe met back when we were in the freaking army.
Totally skip Bert.
Oh, we don't care about Brittany. She's here.
I'm just background noise.
And yeah, we haven't got
She's just
that far
over
yet.
there.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we have Bert.
Thank you, thank you.
The famous Brittany. Thanks to Silas.
Yeah.
You should hold your pinky up while you have that Corona.
It's classy.
Very classy.
I don't need to be proper when I'm holding a beer.
Laying on the couch with your Corona and the puppy between your legs.
It's a wonderful life right now.
All right, so let's get into Abe's little, how you guys met.
Oh. Yeah, me and Abe met way back when we were in the army. We worked together and were roommates together.
2002. Was it 2002?
Yes. I met you in December of 2002 because that's when I got to Fort Irwin.
Damn, 13 years ago. Crazy.
Well, maybe.
A long time. It's crazy.
Dude, I can fucking reenact you word for word, Jeremy. Hey. Welcome to the ModeCast. It's a beautiful evening. It is Wednesday night. We have Abe here. That's why she's laughing. Hey, tell me that wasn't spot on.
That was pretty good.
It was like two. It's like two
Very
words.
accurate.
2 word space. And here we go.
While I was rudely interrupted, here I go
Can't do anything
again.
but laugh.
All right.
Continue.
I mean,
You were
continue,
rudely
Jeremy, continue,
interrupted.
Jeremy.
I rudely interrupted. Go ahead.
Wait, what was I talking about?
You were talking about how we met back in December of 2012.
Damn, you know the month too?
That's
when
what
I
he
got
said.
there.
He just told me.
That's when I got to Fort Irwin. It was December of 2002.
2002. Damn, that's a fucking long time ago, Bray.
And it took me like an entire day
Bro, that's
of Abe
13
taking
years.
me. It took me an entire day of Abe like walking me through everything after I first got there. That I realized that I'm not supposed to listen to Abe.
Oh, yeah.
You could sleep
Never
here.
should.
They don't really care as long as you know, like.
He like instantly got in trouble because Abe was a fucking shitbag that tried to get out of work all the time. And so he's like told me to do, like, oh yeah, that's how you do it, and totally got me in trouble.
Got you in trouble?
Yeah,
Yeah, like the first day.
that's right.
You moved in roommates with Kincaid. Remember that?
Oh, the psycho.
Psycho.
No, tell that story.
Oh
Does
god,
Bert know that story?
probably not.
Negative.
Yeah, because when I finally got put into the barracks, I had been there for like a month when they finally put me into the barracks. Me and Abe worked together, and our rooms were right next door to each other, and they set up like a dormitory to where it was a single room, 2 guys per room, and then 2 rooms would share a bathroom. So 4 guys would share 1 bathroom. And my roommate was a maintenance guy, and Abe's roommate was a maintenance guy, and Abe's roommate was a fucking asshole.
Fucking dick. Hated him.
And my roommate was creepy and psycho. So he started doing crazy shit, and like I constantly had to keep my shit locked up. Like he'd go through my stuff.
Dude, he would go to the PX and like,
What is that?
it's like a military target basically.
Yeah, it's a
Fucking
department store for military people.
you go and get your CDs, your DVDs, whatever. This dude would go and steal Xbox games and throw them over like the garden section of the PX, where like same like Target, it has like a garden section. You throw it over the fence. He would go around and grab the shit, and he basically would do it all the time. He literally had like 30 Xbox games.
You remember those games I had for the Xbox?
Yeah.
Those were all stolen by that guy.
Yeah. So now
Gummy bear
owns them.
So when did he?
Sorry, I said last name.
When did he start being crazy? Like, Like
no,
from day
like
one?
When I first met him, he was a little weird, but he was from Pennsylvania or some shit like that, and I never knew anybody from out there. And he just
It's got to be weird.
He's right.
Fucking nuts, dude.
Those Pennsylvanians.
when it comes to traveling, I'm sheltered as shit. We've rarely left Southern California.
It is true. When you hear somebody from some other state, you're like, yeah, you've got to be weird. You're not you don't live in California. You're not fucking right in the head.
Bro, this piece of shit would go into the PX and go in and he would switch out shoes, like of old shoes that he had. And like leave the shoes in the box.
That's pretty
and
funny.
walk out of the PX like with brand new shoes on. I mean, $100 shoes. He like gave me his shoes. You know what I mean? Like he brought home shoes that he stole, and he'd be like, "Well, these don't fit me. Do you want them?" I'm like, "Well, where'd you get them?" He never really came up with the answer, and then I found out later on he had stole all this stuff. Anyway, well, long story short, this dude got caught because he went too far. He like tried to steal a laptop or something.
Dude, this guy was a little bit of a weirdo, and he seemed like he didn't like. It was one of those guys that didn't fit in and didn't really have a lot of friends because he
tried to buy
really
his friends because he tried to give you everything off the basically the shirt off his back. Try to buy your friendship,
Yeah, he had trouble getting paid for a couple months. Something about his bank, and then so he ended up. By the time he was finally able to access his money, he had a couple grand.
Yeah, he had like $6,000, dude.
So he
took
hits
me
up
and
fucking
Key to Vegas.
Yeah, him and Key, and they drive to Vegas. He wanted me to go too,
That was your roommate?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. This was before Jeremy and I became roommates. But like seriously, this dude was fucking nuts.
Wait, so hold on. I want to hear that story, the Vegas story. Because the things Jeremy's told me, it's
Oh
fucking...
no! So he tells.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. We'll get there.
Wants to take them to Vegas. And I'm like, I don't like the guy. I can't stand the motherfucker.
Yeah, he hated him.
So I'm not going. And they're like, fuck that. Who cares? He's paying for everything.
Yeah, because dude, like seriously, this dude was like,
Oh,
I'm gonna
you're
buy you
roommates with
guys
him.
everything. You got to pay me back nothing, right? So we get out there to Vegas,
what,
bro,
Ryan?
and he's probably spent like $1,500. And then he asked me and Key like the next day, because he like came to and like fucking realized he had spent $1,500 on us to get lap dances and all sorts of shit while we were there, and because we went to some strip clubs. Anyway, long story short, he asked me for some money the next day, and he asked Key, and we were like, yeah, bro, I guess we'll give it to you, you know what I mean? But he kept asking us and asking us. We're like, I ain't giving you shit, bro. You said, you know what I mean? You said you were going to pay for everything, and we didn't have to pay you back. But I felt bad, and I told him I'd give him like $100, right? But what happened is he tried to burn our building down.
Well, no, that was
like that week. He tried to burn our building.
No, that was way later when that happened.
How much later? Like 2 weeks?
No, it was months
hold on.
later.
We're jumping ahead because I remember the shit you told me. Like, start from the beginning, so Bert can get a grasp of like this guy. The shit he slowly started doing. That you were like, all right, this guy's batshit insane.
I don't remember a lot of it, but yeah, he. Oh, I know what you're talking about. I'm sorry, I'm really fucking high right now.
I noticed you're jumping around all in different places.
Oh, because
Trying to get these fuckers.
So no, when I first met him, he was just kind of weird. I didn't know. He just kind of like seemed like someone who needed a friend, and I was nice to him, and so we got kind of clean. But I used to wake up in the middle of the night, and the fucker would be staring at me.
That's kind of creepy.
Wait, on his bed or like sitting next to you?
just sitting
because
next
their
to him,
beds are,
probably.
Like, beds are within
Dude was
5
nuts.
feet of each other. And so he'd just be sitting on his bed, and I wake up and he's like staring at me. What the fuck are you doing? Nothing, just couldn't sleep. And it's like, well, stop fucking staring.
Wait, was he like sitting up in his bed looking
Yeah.
at you? Oh my
That's
god!
creepy.
Yeah, this dude was creepy. Well, anyway,
It got to the point, like, the reason that he wasn't my roommate anymore, or we were able to switch roommates, because I couldn't stand him anymore, and I was freaked out to be in the room with him. I just thought something was going to happen, like in the middle of the night. And so we knew our first sergeant fairly well, and we told our first sergeant the problems we were having, and we asked him like, "Hey, is there any way?" Because he's in charge of the he was in charge of the barracks. And is there any way you could switch us roommates? And he was like, "Well, why isn't it that way already?" And we're like, "We don't know. That's just the way they put us." And he's like, "Yeah, the maintenance guys should be roommates, and the supply guys should be roommates." And I was like, "All right, cool." And so
so yeah, basically that day, we went home and just fucking moved everything over.
Yeah.
They gave us the key because we already had I had the keys but we had the keys to both places. So we moved all his shit in the other room. We moved his shit.
Yeah.
He didn't touch his shit. We moved it.
Yeah, we just moved
his
everything
shit
over.
and we moved all my shit over to Jeremy's room. And like he came back because they were out in the field. You know what I mean? They came back and then they were roommates. And already my roommate was like, dude, straight up asshole. He was from Detroit. He was a dick.
Some assholes in Detroit.
Yeah, asshole from Detroit. That's what I called him.
You almost fought yours, right? I remember Jeremy telling me a story. You almost fought the guy.
Oh, Dude, every other day, I would almost get. I was like, we would almost go to blows with this dude. But honestly, he probably would have kicked my ass. That dude was like twice my size.
Oh, he was just a little psycho.
He was twice my size. He probably would have killed me. I'm not gonna lie, but honestly though, once I got over to Jay's room, like Kincaid came back from the field, like he didn't even mind that he had to be roommates with the other guy, but my roommate was like not having it. He was like, "Fuck this guy's in my room," you know what I mean? He didn't like it. Anyway, they were clashing and they were basically getting at it. But then, so that Kincaid guy would come over to our room and try to come and hang out with us. And me and
Crazy
Jeremy
guy?
we wouldn't answer the door. So he burned our peephole.
Yeah, because he would know we were in there, but he just wouldn't
he
answer
knew,
it.
That's
he
how
knew
crazy
we were
he
in
was?
there.
He
Yeah,
burned
he
it?
knew
He
we
burned
were
the
in
people
there,
so we
and we
couldn't
were
see
like
him
looking through
anymore.
the peephole trying to fucking see him, you know. And he could see our eyes, so he burned the peephole. Like he got
That's
so mad.
hilarious.
Yeah, he burned the peephole, and then fittingly, he was the one that tried to burn down the barracks like a couple weeks later, and they arrested his ass and they took him to the brig.
No. I remember a story you telling me like towards the end. He was so crazy they had him guarding a rock. Right?
No.
No. Yeah, they.
I swear it was something like that.
Well, they
right?
took him. I know they took him to the
No,
military.
because what
police
happened was the same day that he burnt our peephole, he
tried to throw.
He took a dry sponge and lit it on fire, and then in our hallway there was like those shitty ceiling tiles that are in office buildings.
Yeah.
It was like those ceiling tiles, and
Yeah,
so he
he, like,
fucking threw it.
basically threw it up
He
there
like
and it caught
threw
on
it up
fire.
there, and it started a fire. Because all of a sudden I was sitting in my room playing Xbox with the games he stole. And,
Crazy Taxi.
no, I bought that game.
Oh yeah.
And then the fire alarm goes off.
funny.
Everybody runs outside. We have no idea what's going on. Because right before it happened, my roommate. Where was he? I saw him shortly before that.
I think he usually go to the field and then we come back, and he got in trouble. Dude, he went to the military police station like 4 times
That's
before
the
they
reason.
finally.
That was the reason that we were able to swap rooms because he was still
because
my
he did
roommate.
that, right?
He was still my roommate when that happened.
Oh yeah, that's right.
You fucks have the
I know,
shit
right?
memory,
Me
dude.
and Ryan are going back
I'm
and
so
forth.
fucking lost right
It's been
now.
like 13
This is
years.
shit I haven't talked about since it happened.
Yeah, it's been years.
Dude, I feel like a military, like your time in
I'm
the
watching
military.
Ryan and I'm looking at
Dude, you don't
Abe and
even
I'm
know.
looking at Ryan
Jeremy and I
I'm
used to
like, what is
drink a
going
30 pack
on?
every night.
I don't
to
care.
suffice
I don't
the
care.
Military
but I
memories.
feel like the way you guys describe the military, like you guys hate it. I feel like that would be kind of branded into you guys. Like, I don't know. And especially
No, it's all
crazy
shit you try to forget.
No, but
Yeah, you try to
crazy
forget, dude.
story,
There's some
this
shit
guy,
I
would
didn't-
not forget this.
There's some shit, dude, like you just don't want to remember. Like Jeremy and I, once we became roommates, like everything, we were smart. We set up.
Hold on. Fucking, I want the story to be finished, dude. You guys.
No. This story's
No.
not going to be. I mean,
No, shut up really fast.
I mean, we'll try, dude. It's going to be like visions of like going in and out because honestly, it's been so long.
Shut up. Hold on one second. Okay. So tell the story. I could have sworn that this guy was getting so psycho towards the end that he had to like basically guard something that was ridiculous.
Okay, well, so what happened? So now that things are starting to come back,
Yeah, like fucking visions here.
It's like an epiphany.
Dude, we had some.
Well, this sounded like Matthew McConaughey.
I know.
You
Things are
got to
starting
remember
come
in
back.
between all this. Do you remember Vic?
Dude. God
You remember
Before
Vic?
you start
Like
another story.
all these things like happen in between all
I
this.
understand
you know?
that. We're gonna get
We
to
have
Vic.
all these
I want to
crazy
talk about all
roommates,
your guys' military shit, but now I want to know what this guy was guarding.
I don't know if you ever guarded a rock. I don't remember ever saying that,
I
but
swear it was something
I mean,
ridiculous he had to guard.
I know he was guarded. I know they had people guarding him.
Yeah, so that he could.
Are we still
he
talking
could,
about
yeah.
your roommate?
Yeah, the
Okay.
crazy
Yeah,
guy.
he was, he was out there. They sent him to the brig eventually. I know that. He went to the brig for a long time. But he came back and basically like right before we got out. Or before we moved to the new barracks. You remember the new barracks?
Yeah,
there?
because he didn't get tried for when he for the fire thing for almost a year or something.
He ended up getting kicked out though, right?
Yeah, because he went to jail.
Yeah, I never saw him again after he went to the brig.
He spent like 10 or 11 months at
What did he go to jail for?
Leavenworth for the arson for lighting the building on fire.
Yeah, he tried
So
to
was
he
there
tried to light the
camera? Is that
building on
why?
fire.
Camera caught him.
No, he admitted to it.
But like, who suspected him of doing it?
Somebody, one of the guys.
Yeah, a couple of dollars down
No,
from
what
the
was that
building
one
we were in.
guy's name? Shafir something.
I don't know, man. I don't
Remember the white dude that had a funny name? God, that sounds racist as shit.
I was really excited to talk about you guys' army shit.
No,
You guys don't remember anything.
honestly,
Were you guys even in the military?
I got other stories. You know what's crazy too is that my roommate was crazy too. He was from Detroit. He had a real big thing about cars. He went into a Ford dealership. I'm not even kidding. He went into a Ford dealership and wrote a check for like $19,500 for a Dodge Neon, and he had no money in the bank. He had like $200 in the bank. He wrote a check for a Dodge Neon, and he brought it on base.
Sound like somebody from Detroit.
Yeah, he brought the shit on base, and it was a nice car. It was a Dodge Neon, like SXT, like brand new, like right when they came out.
The SRTs, you mean?
SRT, yeah. It was a nice car.
It wasn't an SRT. It was just the top end, like neon.
But it was a turbo. For sure, it was a
No,
turbo.
it
It was a
wasn't.
nice car.
It wasn't a turbo.
He fucking wrote a check, wrote a checkbook into the dealership, wrote a check, and they came. So anyway, they came and confiscated it, and he went to the brig too.
Well, no,
Yep.
he did it 2 days in a row. He went to one dealership. No, he went to one dealership, bought a car on a check. Next day, went to another dealership, bought a car on a check, and had him. It was 2 Dodge Neons, had them both on base, and had them both repoed from the base.
Oh yeah, he did on that. Yeah,
How
he
did
had
you
an
guys all
orange
hear
one
about
and like
that?
Because anything that happens goes through the personnel. Like there's people who handle all your personnel shit, kind of like HR.
Yeah, and we were.
But
in that, basically in that
we're friends
vicinity.
with them. We know them, and so they tell us all the gossip to everything that's happening to everybody.
Because I was like at the time, Patricia, this was way before you and I met. I would say that on the ModeCast. Anyway, at the time, I was having sex with a girl from S4.
Oh, that's right.
So S4 is like the HR kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I was dating her. She was in my room every night, and she would tell me all the stories, and I would tell Jeremy, you know what I mean? So we all kind of knew. And even in our buddy Key, Key, he worked in S4 as well. So we knew everything that came through that side of the base, basically. That side. We were in, I was in Anti-Tank Company, and Jeremy was in HHT.
The headquarters troop.
The 2nd Squadron, so.
You know what tripped me out? Bert, is like literally all you'd ever hear from them is how broke they were and how I got 10, I had 5, so then we bought a 30-pack.
Yeah. Like, seriously, because every other night we would go to the PX, and then, actually, we would go to the...
Wouldn't you guys get you guys can get like fronted on some of your check, or there was something you can do to like...
Oh, yeah.
No,
dude,
that was through the bank.
So many times.
That was through the
so
bank.
So many times, because Jay and I had,
It's
like...
direct deposit advance.
Yeah, Jay and I
How
both
was it
had,
you
like,
guys never
Wells
had money?
Fargo. We both had Wells
You get
Fargo.
paid shit in the military when you're private.
Really?
And on top of it, we were in Fort Irwin in the middle of nowhere. So we both had car payments. When you're making $1,300 a month and you have a $300 car payment and $300 for insurance.
You ain't got shit left after everything's said and
And
done,
then
because they
what would
pay
constantly
you like on the
driving?
1st and the
Then what would
15th.
compel you to go in the army if you're not going to make much
But
money?
you don't know that when you go in, and you don't think
Well,
you're
you're
going
not
to get all
told
these
that?
bills.
You're not told like how much you're going to make?
It all depends on your recruiter and how much research you
Oh, they
actually
lie
do,
to
'cause
you. They lie to
military
you so
military-
much to get you in.
The military pay scales on the internet. You just Google it. It tells you how much people get paid.
But what we used to
Well, that
do
was
is
back then though, when they actually were dying for people to come in.
Yeah, my recruiter was.
That was
100%
2002,
honest
you were
with me. It wasn't-
2001,
I mean,
right?
they tell you.
Yeah.
Like my recruiter told me, like you're not going to make shit for the first couple of years. Like you're going to be struggling.
And that still appealed to you?
Getting the fuck
at the
out of my
time,
current
yeah, at
situation
the time when because I
had
went in when I
nothing-
was 18 years old. Like that's
Yeah, I
it's
guess when you're
crazy.
18, it's...
I think it was a good decision for me to join the military. Just
Oh yeah, I
because-
mean, dude, for me, especially,
I
I mean,
didn't-
my
I
wife
hated
and I
it,
just
but-
bought a house, so that worked out. But anyway, back to where we were. We used to go to the PX every night to get a 30-pack because if it was on base, you don't have to pay tax. So like a 30-pack was like $14.99, and that was it.
So of course you have to pay tax. Well, I wouldn't buy a 30-pack every day.
Hey, you don't have to pay no. I mean, I don't even think they had CRV there, did they?
I don't know what they charged. To be honest, I don't remember. It's too long ago.
I just remember we used to walk.
Everything was
literally-
cheaper on base. Everything was cheaper on base.
But we'd walk to the damn store, which was like 2 miles away, to get a beer. We never really drove. I don't remember driving. Because I always remember walking to that shit.
I drove all the fucking time like a retard.
I remember I used to drive down to you had to drive down to the motor pool so you could talk out of base because our cell phone reception there was so bad. So I would drive down to the motor pool just so I can talk on the phone at night. You remember that?
Yeah, because when they first had the GSM network,
Yeah.
When AT&T first gave me the GSM network, like we barely had any signal out there, Fort Irwin. Like when I would talk on the phone, I would have to my phone. Like I purposely bought Bluetooth when it came out just so I could be away from my phone because I'd have to have it in the window of my room just to talk to anybody.
That's fucking horrible.
Dude,
You
Fort
would think
Irwin
you'd have
sucks.
better service on base.
But Fort Irwin is like
Nothing's out there.
Oh, okay.
Fort Irwin
You're
is
looking- yeah.
40 miles
If you hear
outside of Barstow.
40 miles out, like middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
The best description I ever got of Barstow or of Fort Irwin was before I even got there, because when I got home from basic training, I had taken my car to the shop, and the mechanic, we were talking, and he told me he was in the Army. I told him I just joined the Army. He's like, where are you going? I was like, oh, Fort Irwin. He was like, oh, I was stationed there. I was like, well, how'd you like it? He was like, I'll put it to you this way. If Barstow is the asshole of California, Fort Irwin's 40 miles up it.
Yeah, I remember I went up there a few times, and it's fucking horrible.
Do you remember?
There's nothing out
Jay,
there.
when you like drive like right before when you get to the front of the gate, there's painted rocks.
Oh, yeah, Painted Rock.
Yeah.
I guarantee you though, if your recruiter showed you guys where you're going to be stationed, I don't think you guys would have joined.
You know what? When you think of California and you think of a military base, you don't think of Fort Irwin. I'll tell you that. Like you
no,
think
it's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, you
Did
think
they
like
not share
like
that
California. I
information where you'd
think
be?
palm trees and like
I would have went there
freaking
regardless.
awesome. But I didn't think of middle of the desert, fucking just butthole of the world. Like it sucks. Like it's the
So
worst
you
place
had
in the
no
world.
idea like where you'd be stationed when you recruited?
Well, I got a high GT score when I went in, but I was fucking stupid because I wanted to be close to my
ASVAB
family
score.
and friends.
ASVAB
You know what I
score,
mean?
not
Like I
GT
was
score.
thinking, oh, I'm going to be close to my family and friends. Now I could look back. I could have went to Germany. I could have went to Texas. I could have went anywhere. But
had an option?
I went to Fort. Yeah, I had options, but I went to Fort Irwin because I wanted to be, close to home. And in my stupid ass, I would get a girlfriend. You know what I mean? I would get a new one every month or two, and down in San Diego, and then I'd freaking drive down to San Diego from Fort Irwin. It's like 220 miles. And I used to drive there and back in like 2 or 3 times a week. So, I mean, in the long run, I mean, I had 200,000 miles on my 2001 Ford Focus, and it was only 2003. I mean, it was like 3 years old. I
So
had
what wouldn't compel you to go to like Germany or somewhere else? Like,
Well, because at the time I was 19 years old. I didn't know any better. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna go to
I
this.
don't know. I think
you know?
anyone at that age would be like, yeah, like they can go anywhere. They can get out of their town. They can go anywhere. Why not? Let's go to Germany.
I'd always like had a
He's a mama's
sheltered
boy.
life. I was a mama's
That-
boy.
I
I didn't,
knew
you know
it.
what I mean? I didn't know any better. I didn't want to leave home. And then you know what? Now that I look back, fuck, I could have had so much fun anywhere else.
Do you know what's funny though is when they'd finally get out, because there was a few weekends where they couldn't leave because they had no money. So when they finally were able to come down to San Diego or Rancho, you'd swear like they'd been in prison for months. Dude,
Wreak havoc,
like being around them was like, oh my god, I don't ever want to
like
go to the military.
run from cops and.
Well, you know what? Like every time I would
Going
go
back to
home,
Rancho was always bad for me because I was always causing trouble.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Every story I hear from you being back from your off base or whatever.
I always remember your
on
buddy
leave or-
Steve's house. We'd always go to your buddy Steve's house on the next block over.
Yeah.
That was just a party every time. It was a good time.
You guys would drink when you guys came home, like you guys couldn't drink on base.
We could, yeah.
I know you guys could, but that's how it seemed.
Well, I just remember we'd always, every time we'd come to Rancho, Jeremy and I would always get absolute vanilla with cranberry juice.
Ew.
That was like,
No, it's delicious.
Absolute vanilla and
delicious
cran
at the
grape.
time. Like,
Cran
we-
grape.
like-
Oh, cran grape.
You can't taste the vodka at all.
Yeah. And so we'd drink that like
it's delicious.
religiously. Jeremy used to drink Everclear and Pucker, and I'm pretty sure that's why he
Oh.
can't drink anymore.
That could possibly be it.
Yeah,
I never knew that,
no mixer. That thing
No
was
mixer.
dude.
No mixer. That's why Jeremy can't drink
Hey,
anymore.
I'm
there
going
was
to say
mixer.
that's probably the reason.
The
Because
best was a
ever-
quarter
I mean,
proof on
this
soda.
goddamn 1% at a time. It's gonna be fucking Abe's loud, and you're trying to talk. You can't hear your little ass voice.
It's gonna be the loudest ModeCast ever.
Called Levelator.
But yeah, do you know what we used to go to our boss's house. His name was Sergeant Wilburn, who just bought a Tesla. By the way, did you see it?
I saw something. He was posting something. I didn't see
Yellow
what he actually
Tesla.
got.
Dude, sick. Posted on Facebook. Check it out. Anyway, we'd go to Sergeant Wilburn's house, and he lived about a mile from us. But if you walked up the hill, it was actually closer. if you actually take streets, it would take a mile. But if you walked up the hill, it was like
Yeah, because
half
we
a
know
mile.
exactly what you're talking about.
Basically,
I can
bird's
picture it
eye
in my
view
brain.
from our barracks to his house was about a half a mile walk through the desert,
Or
or
could
about
take the
3
road,
miles driving.
because you would have to go around. You know what I mean to get there,
We were so fucking lazy. We would drive there. We get hammered.
and then we walk down the fucking.
No.
I'm not even kidding. Walk down the Mojave
No,
Desert
we would walk
at night.
I would only walk if
You guys are freaking each other out,
I would only
coyotes and
walk
snakes and shit.
if he didn't notice that I was drunk. I mean, if I
Yeah, because he would like literally like check. He wouldn't let us drive drunk or never. Like he was a good boss. He cared about us. You know what I mean? But he never let us drive drunk. So he would take our freaking keys.
or like half the time he wouldn't notice. I would just grab my keys and leave because we'd be like, "Yeah, I'm walking," and I drive. I drive
Oh yeah,
back to
because he would
barracks.
drink Erkin Jerk, man. He would drink that E&J.
What is that?
E&J.
It's a
brandy.
brandy.
He drank
It's
brandy.
disgusting.
He's straight brandy. He didn't drink no mixer, just straight brandy.
Is
He
that
would
EJ?
just,
Yeah, EJ brandy. Ugh.
God.
Is that
But
a cheap
anyway.
brand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would stick to my Budweiser.
Forgot that was the nickname for it. Irk and Jerk.
Yeah, I would stick to my Budweiser, and Jeremy would get
I would usually
Jeremy
throw
would
in
get
with a couple.
Everclear.
Well, it was
and
Everclear.
Pucker. Green apple
They're
pucker.
finishing each other's story.
No, 'cause
it's funny. One will shut up, the other one will start talking, and then it just keeps
Well,
going back
because
and
like
forth.
these stories, this go on forever. You'd be surprised at how many military.
No, I'm
stories
No,
not.
we
it's just
got.
really cute watching
Your voice
you guys.
is fucking way louder than his, so Jeremy tries to talk. It's like, Jeremy, just give it a rest, dude. We have such a little bitch voices compared to
I know.
everybody else on the podcast. Everyone has deep-ass voices, so literally if someone tries to talk over us, they win every time.
See, the difference is I edit this shit, so I'll just lower his volumes.
So like I said,
I pity the fool that tried to talk over me.
hey, can you
Anyway,
even buy Everclear in California?
I don't
Yeah.
know.
Only on military installations.
But you know what?
Yeah, because I
Jeremy
remember
used to get-
when I used to tell people, and they were like, "That's not even legal in California."
It's
I'm like,
not.
I could have sworn it was Everclear.
But dude, Jay used to get like a big, decent sized bottle of it, and he bought 2 one night, drank them all. I can't believe he drank. I mean, honestly, that stuff is so strong. But he would mix it with apple pucker, so it wouldn't taste.
I think you're onto something about his pancreatitis.
Yeah, I'm with you
I
on
think
that
so
one.
too. But honestly,
Everclear's
that apple pucker
Like
took away the
90
flavor.
No, it's
Alcohol?
190 proof.
yeah, 90%.
Yeah.
That's
right?
I think like 70% or something. I'm not sure.
No, it's higher than
No,
that.
it was like 80 or 90. But it's
Yeah, whatever it
you
is,
had the
it's
higher
fucking strong.
percentage. But yeah, Jay, like
I thought it
I'm not
was
even
half.
kidding.
Whatever proof was, it was half alcohol.
40. Okay, sure. I don't know.
I don't know, but I could tell you this: that he would drink the whole
You might be
bottle with
I
the
could've
apple
sworn if
pucker.
it was
A whole bottle?
The whole
They
bottle.
only sold
by
them in
himself.
pints. They only sold them in
Still.
pints.
But he would
A
drink
whole
2
bottle?
sometimes, yeah, with apple pucker.
No, what I would do is get
no
you get-
mixer.
No
It's
mixer.
not apple pucker.
sometimes.
Oh.
No, you get a 190 proof Everclear, a bottle of watermelon pucker, and then a 2-liter of fruit punch soda, the generic shit.
Yeah.
And then you mix a quarter fruit punch soda, quarter pucker, and then half fucking Everclear.
But to be clear though, I mean this is
Don't give me
a
that look.
serious amount of alcohol.
It didn't.
Like,
It tasted good.
his
It tasted
intake-
really good.
He had a high
Yeah,
tolerance
you
too
don't
because he
fuck
would
with
finish the whole
Everclear,
thing.
though.
No, what people don't realize is from the time I was like 16 to 25-ish, I drank way more than people
Would
ever
drink in their whole
believe.
life, guaranteed.
Yeah,
And that explains the pancreatitis.
yeah.
I gotta
Yeah,
get my
big
phone.
time.
I'm on call, so I gotta make sure I have my phone.
Oh, but you know what? Let me tell you this, Brittany. We would walk home from our boss's house, walk down.
Oh,
I'm in the
God.
Mojave Desert, no less. You know what I mean? At night.
Okay, no,
I
you're
mean,
out in the desert and it's just pitch black.
and pitch black, and like there's the Mojave green rattlesnake out there. There's the Mojave green rattlesnake. It's like the most dangerous snake in California. I mean, we would trip over rocks and fall, and like, I mean, there's cactus out there and all sorts of stuff. We're just tripping over.
you guys
stuff.
ever fall into a
and
cactus?
it's pitch black
No,
out
no.
there. Have you ever seen the Pee Wee Herman movie where all you can see is his eyes when like at nighttime?
No.
Well, that's well if you
Why,
see that.
why would
movie,
you reference
understand.
Pee Wee Herman?
I was a little confused.
do you
I was a little
remember-
confused with the Pee Wee reference.
Do you remember in the movie though? You can only see his eyes at night. You know what I mean? Because that's basically what
I don't
it
know.
was.
Pee Wee Herman
because out
always
there it was
freaked me
pitch
out,
black.
So I never really watched it.
I used to love Pee Wee Herman as a kid.
But we used to.
Explains a lot.
Do you remember that? You don't remember that movie, Ryan, where he's like walking in the desert and all you can
all
see
of
is
Pee Wee Herman movies.
that's. But you remember he opens it and all you can see is his eyes because it's nighttime.
It's been a long time, but sure.
Well, that's basically what Jeremy and I had to go through because we'd walk home from Sergeant Wilburn's house, drunk at night
Through the
down
Mojave
a hill,
Desert.
half a mile. You know what I mean, from his house to the barracks.
9 times out of 10,
But I mean, there is nothing out there.
9 times out of 10, both of us ate shit.
Oh yeah.
Because I would always I always noticed because we'd be in the shower. That sounded super gay.
Sounded super gay.
We were in the
So
shower.
gay.
Every
In the
time he was
shower.
rubbing my back.
Wait, that wasn't me.
No, the next morning when I'd get in the shower is when I would notice the new cuts.
Oh yeah.
How freaked out would Abe get walking through? I can just imagine. Do you hear that? It's fucking wolf. It's a wolf pack.
Oh yeah. There's some scary ass shit out there for sure. But
No, we would just freak each other out because we were that hammered, and then all of a sudden, like, you hear something, be like, "What was that, man?"
but there's
We both grew up in the city, so it's not like we fucking.
But I'm not
understand
kidding.
outdoors.
Like every time, I don't ever remember leaving Sergeant Wilbur's house where I wasn't on another level. Like I was so drunk. Like in you know what I mean? Like we knew going over there, it's going to be a good night, but tomorrow's going to suck because you got to be in formation at 6 a.m. So you'd have to be ready. You have to ready to do physical therapy at 6 a.m.
Physical therapy, physical training.
Physical training.
You're the
You're
worst
fucking physical training. Excuse me.
I love his expressions.
You'd have to do physical training at 6 a.m. and we would leave his house at like 3 a.m. So we're hammered drunk. It's 3 a.m. and here we are walking in the middle of the desert down a hill, pitch black. Like all you can see is the light from the barracks.
The real military experience is when you show up to formation, fucking still shit faced, to go on a 10-mile run, and you're pulling out of formation every couple of miles to puke.
Yeah, it sucks.
Dude,
That happened a lot.
And it happened a lot.
Yeah.
I remember Jeremy talking about how he never liked to iron, so he would like spray down his uniform so much with starch it'd be like fucking a cardboard box.
Yeah, I hated
So
it.
he'd wear and just hang it back up again. Yeah.
You had one uniform good to go for the entire week. And when you walked around like a robot, so you wouldn't wrinkle that shit.
Yeah. You don't want to wrinkle it. Because we'd have to take it to the cleaners.
It's just fucked up in the Army. They don't have to worry
Because
about
I
that
used to
shit
take my
anymore.
shit to the cleaners all the time.
Really?
All the time. It costs a lot of money. I spent a lot of money on cleaners.
It's so funny, though, because people ask me and Abe about our military experience. It's so much different because I hate talking to guys about being in the military because I always end up talking to somebody who's infantry. And my experience is on the staff side of things, so I have a little
Yeah, it's completely different.
What with that guy you were talking to today?
He was a medic.
Like Jeremy and I
Oh.
used to go. We used to go and we'd I was the supply sergeant at the time. We'd
Not
go
my
in.
sergeant.
We would go into.
His title is the supply sergeant. but he
supply
was in
sergeant. Yeah, we're all
85.
specialists, but like my title was supply sergeant.
What was your title?
Abe's bitch.
Supply clerk. No, he was never my
We're all
boss.
supply clerks.
He was never
but-
my boss.
But I was the NCOIC of my department because there was no
I
other.
feel like you're getting all
there
these
was no-
letters wrong because you said fucking physical therapy.
That's non-commissioned officer in charge of you. For all you that don't know, anyway, I was the OIC of my department. So my boss gave me title of staff, supply sergeant. I was the only one there. I had the key to my own supply room, which was cool because Jeremy and I would go at night at like 10, 11 o'clock, and we didn't have any
Hold on
money.
real quick. Let me pause you right there. We'll get back to this in a second. But I like how he portrayed himself as this like person who got put in charge. Like he's a responsible person that got put in charge of a like specific department and whatnot. He went from working. Me and him were on the same level. Shitbag of shitbags. Could not get him to do anything. He had no responsibilities because you couldn't trust him to do a goddamn thing. He purposely fucked shit up so no one would ever ask him to do anything.
Hey, Jeremy just tell me about that. Jeremy used to get so mad at you.
No, because me and you have actually have a good work ethic.
It's like the real world, man. You fuck shit up, they don't ask you for shit. But I went
Fucking
from
douchebag.
No, because you can't get fired.
You can't get fired in the military. You
can't get fired.
No, but how did he get promoted?
Military. They own your ass
He didn't get
anyway.
promoted. Sergeant Wilburn got rid of him.
Sergeant
Sergeant
Wilbur.
Wilburn got so sick of him, he's like, "Fuck this, you're getting moved."
So he gave me. He brought me over, and then that was shitty because Sergeant Wilbur became my boss again. I remember because they sent him over to anti-tank company. He became my boss. So my damn position, he took it.
No, because he tried to go be a recruiter, but then he couldn't pass the background check. And so when they brought him back, they'd already brought in a replacement for him, so they didn't have anywhere to stick him. So they put him in charge of Abe. Abe went from being a NCOIC
to
back
Brittany
to a
went in the
clerk.
house. Yeah, as a back to the damn regular clerk. But what was cool is Jeremy and I used to go and...
Okay, no, I don't even care. I'm going back to you being a shitbag. I used to have to do so much extra work because of you.
Yeah.
Hey, literally, I remember Jeremy telling me stories when you guys were roommates. Like, this motherfucker doesn't dry off when he gets out of the shower. My floor's fucking soaking wet.
It's funny because I still do the same thing. I still do the same thing with my wife. Still complains about the same shit.
No, it's super funny because me and Patricia used to, when we'd all hang out, get hammered. Me and Patricia would sit there and have like swap stories about how much of a shitty roommate he is. No, because who the fuck gets out of the shower and walks around with no towel? Like he would just like he would like have the towel in his hand. He's not even trying to dry off. Just dripping everywhere. And it's not like he goes back and cleans it up. No, he just moves on like nothing happened.
Just leaving a muddy ass trail behind.
They're so obnoxious.
You remember Jeremy? Oh, Jeremy bought Girls Gone Wild.
Oh my god! Can you imagine trying to sell that on a kid today? Girls Gone Wild, like I can just access porn through my phone. Why would I watch Girls Gone
This was
Wild?
before the internet was popular.
No, I know that's what I'm saying. You didn't have
Back then,
fucking
Girls
internet
Gone Wild
phones.
was popular.
You didn't have internet phones back then either.
Do you remember, Jay? I used to turn it up.
Yeah, 'cause they had a lesbian scene on one of the videos. And he'd be like, dude, turn it up. So I turned it up to like full volume on the TV, on the tube TV. So he'd be in the shower jerking it.
I'm in the shower. You can turn it up.
Because
Jay.
I'd usually be...
All right, Jerry, you can turn it down now.
You'd holler out.
That's a solid ass roommate right there. Oh man.
Oh, let me get. I got more stories, man. But let me tell you
We think
this.
we hated each other because of the fucking... Remember we used to race
Jeremy.
home for lunch? We used to race back to the room at lunchtime.
Let me tell you this, because I know
An hour and
that
a half for lunch.
Ryan. I know you
So
know.
we would take a nap.
I know you know. Jeremy is fucking snores louder than any person ever in the world.
Yeah.
So Jeremy and I used to race home for lunch because we'd always take a nap on our lunch. That's basically, I mean, I think that's why we became best roommates, because honestly, we like to sleep. Anyway, long story short, Jeremy used to come home.
You guys like to sleep because you guys are always shit faced and hungover. That's why you like to sleep.
Yeah, we had to get a nap in.
Nighttime. Nighttime is the right time. Anyway, I'd be sleeping and Jeremy would freaking shake the bunk bed because we set up our bed to be like a bunk bed so we had more space in our room.
Yeah, straight stepbrother style.
Yeah, straight step brothers. We can lunge in here. Anyway,
No, because I think I was like,
so
in my room,
Jeremy-
be like, you guys set it up like bunk beds?
we're like the only ones in the barrack with bunk beds.
Wait. Did it even have an option like to?
Yeah,
like,
they were set up so it could be a bunk bed. They were
okay.
set
They
up
were
that
set
way.
up, yeah. We literally had to like.
you guys
set
are the
them up
ones that
on
are
top
trying to
of
be
each
high
other.
fiving before you guys went to bed.
But I would be
We put a
sleeping.
couch in our room.
I would sleep on the top bunk.
Of course you were. Fucking
And,
Chris Farley style. I got top bunk.
I would sleep on the top bunk, and Jeremy.
Back when Abe was skinny?
Jeremy would come and he'd freaking shake the bed so that he could fall asleep first. Because all Jeremy has to do to close his sleep, just close his eyes. And he's freaking snoring 2 seconds later. But he doesn't snore. He doesn't snore like a regular person. He like calls all the dead homies when he's fucking snoring. Like so.
I don't know, Brittany, what do you think?
He doesn't snore now.
He snores so loud.
He doesn't now.
I don't know how. Maybe
I've
it's,
heard people talk about that, but I haven't. I think in the very beginning I experienced it, but I have. It was.
but I'm not even kidding. He was like a warlock.
It was when he was drinking.
Maybe it was. Maybe
He'd
that's
wake
what
me
it
up
was.
in the middle of the night, like and be like right in my ear.
But honestly, he's so loud, and he would do it on purpose. He would come home. He would come home. He would come home and wake me
How
up.
dare you, Jeremy?
But he would come home and personally shake the bed so that I would wake up and go, "What the fuck, Jay?" And then he would lay back down. He
I
would
used to
lay
wake
down
up-
and fall asleep real quick, and so I couldn't sleep my whole lunch break.
Did
I'm
you
like,
really do it
"Fuck,
on purpose?"
dude?" Because all Jeremy would do. I'm like, dude, why?
Do you know why I would wake him up? Because Sergeant Wilburn would get pissed off at him. He wasn't doing anything. He'd be like, "Shaw, get down to the motherfucking motor pool now and go work on the vehicle." Because our vehicle never worked because Abe was in charge of the vehicle, but Abe would never work on it. So he would send
Wait,
Abe
you
down
don't
to
even
the...
know how to work on a vehicle. Why would you?
No, because what
this
you
fuck
do
would
is
send it
you
down-
have to go down to the motor pool. Like I knew how to do some stuff. I knew how to
No.
change the tires. I knew how to do some stuff, but like there's the mechanics. You go down there and you get the mechanics to do the work. But you have to fill out all this paperwork for the mechanics to do the work on your vehicle. On your
God, you were a
Humvee.
lazy fuck.
Yeah, but you would have to
You have
the
no idea.
mechanics do it.
You have no
But
idea.
Sergeant Wilbur would send me down there, so I would go back to my room and go sleep.
At like 10 o'clock, he'd get pissed off at Abe and be like, "Abe, get down to the motor pool and go check on our fucking vehicle." Abe would be like, Cool, Sergeant. Gone. He would go straight to his room. Would never go to the mobile, just straight to the room. And I'd get to the room, and
But our room,
asleep.
this is like, in all fairness, our room is right across the street from our work.
Wait. So how did he never get in trouble for that?
Okay, so there's kind of, the rule. I'm not going to fucking rat him out for getting away with shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would never. And Sergeant Wilburn was, Sergeant Wilburn. Like, did you ever meet him?
Yeah.
He would never tell on me. He would just be like, give me a hard time about shit, like when we were drunk at his house. So, because I was always drunk at his house, like every
Sergeant
weekend.
Wilburn really didn't know about this shit because I never told him, because I'm the only one that ever knew.
But
I
Sergeant
would have
Wilburn wouldn't
ratted
have
your
said-
ass out.
He wouldn't have said shit.
Because I'd get back to the room. Like, he would, as soon as he would leave to go to the motor pool, I would just instantly get pissed, like, this motherfucker. Because now I'm stuck with Sergeant Wilburn actually doing work, because Sergeant Wilburn could count on me to get shit done. But I'd get back to the room, and sure enough, he's racked the fuck out of his bed, so I just fucking shake the shit out of his bed and wake him up.
And then he would fucking lay down and fall asleep, and I can't fall asleep because he's...
Well, fuck him, he's already been asleep for an hour.
So Sergeant Wilburn thought he was down in the motor pool.
Yeah.
And then it was lunchtime, so then he went to the room.
I just started my lunch early every day.
By an hour. We had an hour and a half lunch every day. Dude, you go to lunch at 11:30, you don't have to come back till 1.
And so Sergeant Wilbur would be like, go down to the motor pool, make sure that shit's ready. The motor pool was like 2 miles from our work.
Yeah, and Sergeant Wilbur's not going down there. It's hot as fuck.
We all used our own personal vehicles at work. And I even had a Humvee to drive down there. I would just drive the Humvee back to the barracks.
Which is fucking 100 yards from the fucking shop.
Yeah.
Do you know what sucks though? Even if Sergeant Wilbur knew he was in the room, Sergeant Wilbur wouldn't give a shit because he was just tired of seeing him not do anything.
I mean, I did shit
Dude,
sometimes.
I wouldn't even be your friend.
Just out of sight, out of mind.
I wouldn't even be your friend.
Okay, let me tell you more funny stories, okay?
All right,
Here we go.
so
While we're
I'll
on
let
the
him jump
subject.
forward. I'll let him jump back forward to when, because we ended up hustling our staff guys into hooking us up with separate rations, because you're not allowed to have separate rations as a single soldier. They make you go to the dining facility and eat their shitty ass food.
Yeah. So they gave us more money.
So we had separate rations. So they gave us more money, which we just spent on booze and gas to get off base.
They gave us
So
like
we would be broke as
$200
fuck
more.
with no food.
Wait. Explain that better? Wait, what?
So when you're in the military, when you have
You get money for commissary, to eat food at the commissary.
when you're a single soldier living in the barracks, you are allowed to go to the dining facility for free, and they give you 3 meals a day. The dining facility is open for 3 separate.
You're allowed to eat
breakfast,
lunch, and dinner at the commissary.
No, it's
They
not the
give you
commissary. The
money.
commissary is the grocery store you pay. No, you're talking about the dining facility. The
Dining
DFAC.
facility.
Damn,
Yeah.
motherfucker.
What you do?
Were
It's
you
been
in the
it's been
military?
like 13 years.
Hey, now that the wheels are turning, it's all coming back.
Yeah. Okay, so they would give us this money, but they would take the money out of our check.
Wait, hold on, but I'm lost. Okay, so you guys wouldn't eat the food, but you guys would get a check. So
Somehow
you
you
guys gave
guys-
up the free meals. You're not explaining it right.
Okay, so basically you have 2 options. One is you're a single soldier, and they basically, instead of giving you money for food,
Okay.
they take that money from you, and they say you have to go to the dining facility.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
Dining facility.
And when you
Gotcha.
when you're married with a family, they give you that money because you need to buy food for your family and whatnot.
Gotcha.
So what we did is
How much would you get?
It was like $250 a
But
month.
what we did is we set it up so that we could get the $250. But we'd spend that money on fucking beer and whatever, so we had no money for food.
We have no food. We have no money for food.
ever. So
we're
what-
hammered.
Yeah, so what I did.
But he had boxes and boxes
Yeah, I
and
had
boxes of
boxes
MREs
I
in
had
the supply
boxes
room.
of MREs.
You guys are all backed up.
Yeah. No, I had
Constipated as
boxes.
shit.
I had boxes of MREs inside my supply room because I was the NCOIC.
Dude, I'm not even
for
sure
like
about
a
airing
year.
this shit now because this is like straight theft.
Yeah. Maybe we should take this off the ModeCast.
Hey, allegedly,
Allegedly, we went to my supply room and we would what they call the
Wait. How many MREs would you get? So you guys are eating
Okay,
MREs,
MREs,
like every day?
MREs, just to be clear.
No, I know what MRE is.
MREs
like
are meals
3
ready to eat. They
They're like dehydrated
the
stuff.
last
Yeah,
like
yeah,
4
but
to
you could,
5
like,
days
astronaut-
before we got
like
paid.
astronaut food?
you basically add water to this like heat pack thing.
It's all
and
mush?
It kind of like heats up. It heats up and then it heats up your food inside. But the pack of like it's like basically a piece of meat that's in like a sealed package and you could heat it up in there. But Jeremy and I had a microwave in our room, so we could heat it up that way too. But what we would do is we would
Shit
go.
gets you so constipated. How many times do you eat this a day?
Well, the crazy thing was we spent all our money, so we didn't have any money for food. So
Yeah,
we'd
pretty
go
much
in
like
there.
the last 5 to 7 days before we got paid, we could not do anything.
Yeah, like
we
so
couldn't
we'd have
drive anywhere.
We'd go to the PX, and Jeremy and I kind of were smart. We put our money together and we would buy Top Ramen. We bought
Put our money together by Top Ramen.
Dude, we were like a couple.
We bought like
Seriously, I mean,
we bought like
I'm not.
we
You're
bought
gonna put your money together to buy fucking a 10-cent bag of Top
I'm not even kidding.
It was
Dude,
bad.
On top of our refrigerator, or on top of our microwave, we had like 50,
we would recycle for
50
money.
50 things of Top Ramen at all times. Like always Top Ramen up there. I got so sick of Top Ramen, but honestly, like I haven't ate it. Now I think about it, I kind of want some Top Ramen right now.
Dude, what people don't realize is privates in the military live just like fucking college students.
Yeah, it sucks. Like, but we ate Top Ramen and we had peanut butter all the time to make peanut butter and fucking jelly sandwich and
peanut
Top
butter
Ramen.
and Top Ramen.
Yeah, but okay. So what we do is we go to my supply room, and I had the keys to the supply room. I mean, and this is straight up crazy. Like we'd go in there. and
Allegedly,
we'd take
you
these-
did.
Allegedly, we take these boxes. I mean, and these boxes probably cost $350, $400 a piece.
I have no idea
Because-
what he's talking about. But anyways, yeah, we
Because
would go to his
milita-
supply room, and if we got caught doing this, we would have gotten in serious trouble. We just go what's called rat fucking. We rat fuck a bunch of MREs. Because pretty much you
all the
take an
good
MRE
food out.
and you take whatever
We just
you
take a
want
box.
out of it.
We take a box back to the room.
No, I know.
We take up
Jeremy
all the-
gave me like 10 of them one time.
Yeah. We take all the like meats and all the candies and all like the goods, the cheeses and the peanut butters out of the MRE.
Pretty much
and
everything
throw
that
away
we
all the
wanted.
shit part
Yeah,
that we
just
didn't
Throw
want.
it away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just get rid of it because it's like we'd rat fuck. That's what we call rat fuck it. You take out the good shit.
But why not just put it back in the supplier?
Because when you go out to the
No, because
field,
then we would have got caught. There would have been evidence that somebody was stealing this.
yes, yeah, but
When
like
boxes,
seriously-
just because nobody really pays attention to how many are there. So if like a box or two goes missing, nobody's really going to notice.
yeah. So we take 2 boxes every week.
Where's the inventory of this shit?
I inventoried it. So
Yeah.
So the guy who's in charge of inventory that never did his job.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but I
that was
became the
me.
NCOIC of that department for like a year. So
and
for a
Mr.
year,
Roman took
we
over?
lived a good life and we had the best MREs. Because like MREs in a box, there's all like a mixed variety of the MREs. You know what I mean? But we'd take out the good shit like the jambalaya and the fucking like the bombest like MREs. Because there's pretty good MREs if you get the right stuff.
No, I ate quite a bit of them.
because
There's-
MREs like there's
carrot cake and
They're
well,
fucking
there's
gross.
the candies with the M&Ms. If you get the ones with the charms, you got to throw that shit away. But I mean,
Dude, the thought of the smell of some of the MREs like makes me want to puke. Like,
But I'm not even kidding. Like you could eat the cheese out of the MRE with the crackers and stuff, and go to the field. And when you come back, you'd shit a brick because you don't shit the whole time you're in the field. It like blocks you up. Because I used to go to the
There's
field.
X-Lax gum. There's
I used
X-Lax gum in the MRE. I remember that.
Yeah, I used to go to the field, and I'm not even kidding, because
I don't remember
everybody
that.
would use those damn porta potties, and there was probably just fucking AIDS and herpes all over this damn porta potty. So I wouldn't want to use that shit. So I waited. I just fucking would fill myself up with these MREs, and when I come back from the field, I would straight up brick, like a brick would come out of my stomach. It was bad.
Yeah, you don't remember there's X-Lax gum in the MREs. When you gave me the MREs,
I'm not saying you're wrong. I said I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I just remember, you know what was bomb is what you could do is you could use the cheese packets that came in there, and you put them inside the heat pack, and it would melt the cheese, and you can put it in with your meal. That shit was bomb.
Yeah, we used to like combine meals to make like a better meal.
Yeah, because like I'm saying, Ryan, we
Damn,
come,
you guys are probably stopping
Bro.
from ever joining the military now.
Ryan,
Everyone
we'd
would that.
Jeremy and I would come down and we go to like Dave and Buster's and do some crazy ass shit in Rancho, and then when we get back to base, we were broke because we spent all our money. I mean, gas back then, even back then, it was still $3-4. Remember that, Jay?
No,
Oh, wasn't you fucking
Yeah.
in 2002? You're fucking high.
No, it
How much was it?
$1
Or
under
something.
$2.
Yeah.
Well, I
It was
guess we
about
just spent a shit ton of money on
$1.99 or
gas though,
something.
because
Well,
we
yeah.
drive so far all the time.
Well, dude, you were fucking making $1,300 a month. That's dog shit.
I know, but we'd spend so much money on gas, and then like those little fucking cars would eat gas too. You had that Blue Ranger, remember that?
Yeah, we used to go mob that motherfucker in the dirt
Jeremy took me in this Blue Ranger, Ryan, and almost killed me.
several times. I used to love
The,
scaring him.
He went off a jump, and all 4 tires came off the ground. And when we landed on the ground, his stereo came out of the stereo and landed on my lap. I was like, dude, like we're gonna die.
Stock Ranger, fucking.
Yeah, stock, no, yeah, it was bad.
I don't know how that thing never.
What road did you take me on?
Wild Wash Road. It's a Wild Wash.
That was a well rush, all right. That was the scariest fucking
She was so
Everyone
funny.
thinks he's a race car driver.
I know.
Right, this shit was so
Aware of
funny.
this.
We pull off Wild Wash Road, and most people that listen to this have been to off Wild Wash Road and off of 15. We pull off there. I start smashing the dirt. He's like, "Are we even allowed to do this here? Are we gonna get in trouble?" Driving through. Who cares? It's the desert.
Yeah, it was crazy out there though. But I mean, let's go back to the military stories. I got some more military stories for you. You want to hear a crazy story?
Well, I actually have a question for you guys.
Ask away.
So I remember, especially you tell me like when you had girlfriends bringing it back to the base, but you guys weren't allowed to have chicks there.
Oh yeah. I snuck. Remember Jenna?
Yeah. No, but you guys had there was a method to it though, like on when you guys knew because they did room checks or something.
Yeah, but I had So like basically, if we wanted a girl back to the room, like you could probably have them, but I mean it was like few and far between. You weren't supposed to have girls in the barracks at all because they had. They always had somebody on like what's called KP duty. Was it KP?
No,
duty?
KP is when you work in the kitchen.
Which one was the one where you're downstairs and you had to work?
CQ.
CQ duty.
Charge quarters.
You had to do CQ duty for 24 hours. You know what I mean? But there was somebody that was supposed to check.
There's always a sergeant in charge of the barracks.
So there's always somebody supposed to be checking the thing. Now at the time I was talking. Remember Sergeant Aids?
Sergeant Aids?
Her name, yeah, Sergeant Aids.
Yeah, ADES.
ADES, not AIDS.
Hey, and she was
just
from
to be
Barstow.
clear. Yeah. Okay. Well, Sergeant Aids was like the coolest.
She right at home.
Yeah, but she was the nicest lady ever. Like, but she was so cool. Anyway, there was this guy he was tapping that at the time, and he told me about it. Remember?
The scout?
Yeah.
Well, actually, she ran through a lot of the scout platoon.
Yeah, but she was tapping it at the time, and but he would get in cahoots with her basically. And then she would be cool, you know what I mean, with all us. So I could have anybody I wanted in the room, you know what I mean? But like when Jeremy and I, if we had somebody in the room, somebody has to leave like a sock on the door. I used to leave like a sock on the door or something. Because Jeremy knew if I had this girl. I remember Jenna? I was seeing Jenna at the time.
From Burger King?
Burger King. There was only so many people on the base. There was only our base was like...
I'll give him credit for this. I have no idea how he pulled her because on Fort Irwin, like the female to male ratio is like 15
there's like
to 1.
2% female.
Holy shit!
Yeah.
And
but
this
I
was
pulled, like the hottest one. I don't know how I did it either.
This is a civilian who was the manager of the Burger King that was on Fort Irwin, and he somehow managed to pull her and was with her for a few months.
And I was
no
living
idea
in
how he did
Barstow
it.
with her
because she got hit on fucking like 80 times a day.
Yeah, but because there's nothing but dudes there. But anyway, I was seeing her, and she lived in Barstow. But I would have her in the barracks every other night, you know. And so Jeremy would have to go to the Key Brothers' room, so because I would leave a sock on the door. So if I had
just crash over there.
Yeah, I'd kick it with them until fucking
until she went home.
Yeah, because she never stayed over the night.
Well, she did a couple times.
Did she?
Yeah, but you just crashed it.
Dude, I feel like I'd be a shitty ass roommate because I'd be like, dude. Come on, it's been 2 hours now. Let me in.
It didn't really matter because, like, in a dorm situation, if you have friends, like, you just go over to somebody else's room. It's not like you left your house, really.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Yeah, because when we had our couch, fucking Sabra slept on our couch most nights. He didn't even because him and his brother were roommates, and he slept on our couch most nights. He'd be hanging out with us. He'd just crash in our room and then go to PT in the morning. So we kind of. I kind of had two roommates when we were.
It was kind of cool because Sabronza quit.
One big bachelor pad.
Sabronza quit were cool, dude. I used to go over there all the time and just watch TV because they always had food because they would actually use their money. They wouldn't go anywhere. They would actually use their money for food. And
they were actually both really smart with their money.
So because Jeremy and I would spend all our money on booze. They would spend all their money on food. So we'd actually go over there all the time and eat, and they would feed us. So, but they like Kool-Aid a lot. So their perfect ratio of Kool-Aid is 1 scoop per 23 scoops of sugar. Yeah. So I learned to drink some super sweet Kool-Aid if I went over there.
So they said they did in the South.
You're chewing on sugar.
Yeah, but
hey, the Key brothers taught me and Abe a lot about the dirty South.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, what was that Archie? I still get down to that.
Archie
ever saw?
What was that one song?
Don't fuck with us.
Don't fuck with us.
DONTFUCK WIT us.
Yeah, well, how do the rest go?
Yeah, they would.
Ready?
Yeah, we ready. Yeah, that's all. Hey, I used to get so like, oh man,
because we're straight up from the South and we don't give a fuck.
I would get in the car, I'd put that song on repeat.
But yeah,
We
Jeremy,
ready.
remember the Key brothers would like macaroni and cheese like a lot too. Like they super into macaroni and cheese. They would use so much cheese on their macaroni and cheese. And in the barracks, we didn't really have anything to heat shit up, so they would just come up with whatever to heat stuff up. But we didn't care because Jeremy and I were broke all the time, so we go over there and eat.
You guys had those stoves?
Nope.
No.
When we got to they built new barracks for us like the last year I was in, and those were nice. Like remember that, Jay? They built those brand new barracks.
That's probably why we're still friends, because of those new barracks.
Yeah, because Jeremy and I got separate rooms.
After that, because he was in a different unit than me at that point, so he had to go stay with his unit, and I was with my unit, so we weren't roommates after that. But by that point, we were starting to really fucking hate each other.
Wait,
yeah.
So you guys there was no roommates anymore? You didn't have a different roommate?
No, that's when I remember that big black dude was my roommate, Chandler.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's when he became my roommate. But we had at that point, we were able to have our own room. So it was like two people shared. You didn't really have your common area was like a sink and refrigerator and cabinets and a bathroom, and then you each had your own separate room. So
because
it's kind of
really need your own space in the military. You can't really just live with somebody. It just didn't work, man.
That's like the funniest roommate, because when there's somebody that brings you out, you get loud. You'll get like, hyper and talkative, but if someone's quiet, you're cool being quiet. And he was quiet as shit. So I can only imagine there was no
what
conversation.
Jeremy and I would do is
we actually talked a lot, because since he knew me, we knew each other really well. And, he felt comfortable talking to me. But yeah, he was just quiet.
Yeah, Chandler.
And always on his cell phone.
Always on his cell phone. Always had to have the new technology too, Chandler. I remember
the
that.
tallest, longest motherfucker I've been around, and the slowest moving motherfucker I've ever been around.
Yeah. He would run his 2 mile in 30 minutes.
He could never pass it. I could never figure it out. He just couldn't run.
I don't understand that too. All these guys like Sabras, quit, and Chandler. They were all in the military, but they could never pass a PT test.
Yeah, but they were fucking tall. That's gotta be hard on your joints.
They never passed a PT test the whole time. Even in basic training and AIT, they told me they never passed a PT test, and yet they were still in the military. You're supposed to pass a PT test to stay in the military, but they never did. So
hey, you're gonna trip out off this, Abe. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, I know you were tripping out, Jay. So our cousin, he recently just joined the Army.
Such bullshit.
And when you get smoked now, they can only smoke you. It's 10 push-ups.
Oh, yeah,
10,
I heard.
10 push-ups. And he was telling me, we'll fuck with the sergeant all the time. We'll get smoked because they're saying it's funny to them.
Yeah, because it's
and
different.
I was thinking, damn, remember you were telling me you guys would go to the point of failure.
They would smoke us to the point of just your arms would break, man.
Yeah, he was saying, Jeremy was saying until a point of failure where no one's doing any more push-ups, and 10 push-ups, it's nothing.
It's hard.
It sucks because I get why they're doing it, but they shouldn't be doing that in basic training. Basic training is there for a reason. They have those training regimens. It's not just to break you down physically; it's also to break you down mentally. And I don't like that they're not doing that, because I learned so much about what my body was capable of when I was in basic training, because I pushed myself beyond muscle failure.
You just do. You push yourself to the limit, dude. Just know.
So being able to know that my body has those limits was so beneficial to me, and now that's been taken out of the situation, out of the.
Well, remember that guy saying I was talking to the Marines? He got out of the Marines because strictly he said that the military is too soft. He said that he wanted to be a Marine because they were the biggest and the baddest.
Dude, it's just another step in the pacification of America.
When Jeremy and I were in, it was different times, I guess, because honestly, they were harsh on us, man.
Well, yeah, I remember the stories. Jay, I remember he was telling me that they went through his locker one day. This is when he was in basic training. They found a picture of our sisters, Haley and Tricia, playing with Legos. And he's like, "Oh, I fucking hate Legos," and took Jeremy's pictures and threw them everywhere.
My stack of pictures, just threw them across the room.
Oh my god. I remember when I was in basic training, we're doing push-ups, and there was this guy from Pennsylvania, which is the craziest thing. His name was, what the hell was that guy's name? He was from Pennsylvania.
Were they all from Detroit and Pennsylvania?
I don't know. I mean,
it sounds like it with the way you guys
this guy was what they call
the majority of the military, or the Army, anyways. It was a lot of people from poorer neighborhoods.
Yeah, but Sabra and Psych, they're from
Alabama,
right? Yeah,
yeah, but they're from a poorer neighborhood.
But anyway,
not that that they were she's just they were. It wasn't they were from a wealthy area or anything.
But dude, basic man, this guy, he our staff sergeant who was doing like our drill sergeant, is what you would call him, and he stepped on this guy's hand because he wanted to give him out of the military. Not even kidding. And he told us if any of us said on it, told on him, we're next. Because he wanted the best of the best with his group. And he got that guy out. Because a lot of people didn't make it from my group. Because I went to Fort Knox. A lot of people, they sent like 6 people home that didn't, that just couldn't cut it. That guy was one of them. Because like, do you remember, Jay, how they make you do like with the guns where you hold up the gun?
Oh, you hold it out in front of you?
You got to bring it down slow so it barely like the butt doesn't touch the ground, just barely softly, like when you're.
Are you talking about when you're doing movements with the
parade
rifle?
Rest and when we do parade rest, this guy always his buttstock. Well, you're supposed to bring the buttstock to the ground very slowly with your hand, and this guy could not do it without touching the ground and making the damn gun go because if you touch the buttstock to the ground, the chamber unlocks and it comes up. And this guy set off his chamber so many times. And I guess the drill sergeant was tired of it because we were getting smoked. And this drill sergeant basically broke this guy's hand right in front of us and said, if you tell, you're next. That was pretty harsh. And that was in red phase in basic training for us. Because you have red, white, and blue phase in basic training. And at Fort Knox, it's like one of the worst.
I don't know. I'm not dumb enough to join the military, so.
Well, it sucks because, I hate that they've taken, like, what you were talking about, that bullshit out where they're not letting you, like, get smoked to muscle failure. But I do understand the other side of the argument is that in some cases, if you're doing that to somebody, you can injure them because, I mean, I got injured in basic training and when I was in AIT. And then some people get injured and now they get held back to, because of their injury, that now they're held out. They can't
they call that holdover.
Yeah, they're a holdover, and they become a holdover, and then they got to get once they're healed, they're put into another class, another basic training class that is at whatever week they left off on.
Yeah, but like, I don't think that they have near as respect as you guys did for the drill sergeants.
Oh my God! At the time,
the way our cousin was describing it, like, it was like they looked at the drill sergeants like they were a joke.
Oh, but now, back then when we were in, it was a different story.
No, to this day,
but hold on, they can't get in your face no more. He was saying,
they can't get. You can't. The drill sergeant can't get in your personal space.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no. To this day, I'm scared of that drill sergeant hat. Like when I see that drill sergeant hat, I get nervous.
Yeah, I remember. We had Drill Sergeant Kroom. That was his name. That guy was mean. And he would tell us, if you ain't in the bunk, you're a wrong private. You know what I mean? Like, he would speak over the loudspeaker in our barracks just to, like, scare us at night. You make sure you're fucking up. Hey. You know what I mean? Like, he would curse so much. Like,
dude, we went and picked up
Haley.
Different. We went and picked up Haley from boot camp. And when you saw the drill sergeant, you're like, I don't know why I feel really nervous right now.
Yeah. That she was a trip when I saw Haley, too, because her first sergeant I knew from Fort Irwin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Do you remember me talking to that guy?
Yeah, actually.
Who was her first sergeant?
Huh?
Who was her first sergeant?
I forget the dude's name, but you wouldn't have known him because he was there after you left.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He was a maintenance guy. No, he was a medic.
Hey, were you still in when the one sergeant told me to shut the fuck up? Do you remember that one? I was.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah. We all had to literally sit at a meeting. And the dude told me to shut the fuck up and do your job or something like that. Because I said something to one of the guy's wives. Anthony, remember Anthony?
Oh, yeah.
I said something to his wife. I didn't like.
That guy fucking hated you.
Yeah, Anthony, he hated me.
He was the infantry guy.
But his wife, like I said something because his wife was in too. It was like him and his wife were in, you know what I mean? And I said something to her like mean. I don't remember what I said. But, you know, because honestly, like she had no business being up front anyway because she was fucking piece of shit. So I said something to her and like me and him kind of got into it. And then the boss, like, I can't remember what his name was. It was like an older, like, Samoan dude.
You're talking about Stocky Paranaki?
Yeah, Paranaki, Sergeant Paranaki.
Stocky Paranaki?
He was a Hawaiian dude. And
Sergeant Paranaki told me...
He was short and stocky, and his last name's Paranaki.
Oh, you shut the fuck up and you move on. That's what he told me. And I was like, all right, like, you know what I mean? Because I had to, like, literally... We had a whole meeting about me talking to fucking somebody else. Do you remember that, though? Weren't you there? Like, I could have swore you were in that meeting with us.
Probably. But the meeting wasn't on me, so... or I don't remember.
Yeah, it was a pretty crazy night.
You remember Sergeant Paranaki, though?
Sergeant Paranaki, man. You remember? You know who was fucking crazy is Sergeant Aragon.
I never met that guy.
Oh, you met Sergeant Aragon was fucking nuts, dude. He would take us down to Barstow. Do you remember we'd go to... Were you with us when we went to Halo? Club Halo in Victorville?
We went to that place several times.
Yeah, well, Sergeant Aragon took us one time because I had never been there before. Sergeant Aragon was nuts. What would you say the craziest time you had in was?
A lot of stuff, or not a lot of stuff, but a few things I can remember from Iraq.
Oh, yeah. But I'm talking about when we were there in Fort Irwin.
You?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We had so many fucking drunken nonsense nights in the barracks, at Sergeant Wilburn's house.
We had a lot of nights. We got. You remember Vic? You remember Victor? Vic?
Yeah, tell Bert that story about like what ended up happening to him.
Oh,
What ended up happening to him?
so our buddy Vic, he was a good friend of ours. He ended up hooking up with a girl when he went home on leave, and the girl ended up being his cousin, and she ended up being like 14, and he didn't even know it was his cousin because he had never met her before. But I'm pretty sure he knew she was younger, because Victor, our buddy Vic, was one of those guys that would just smash on anything, so he did, and he ended up he went to the brig for 7 years.
Well, he didn't go to the brig because this is all done in civilian courts. This is all hearsay. We don't know what he was actually charged with. I don't know what has actually ever happened.
Well, he's here. He's on my Facebook.
After when he got out of prison, I talked to him on the phone a couple of times.
Yeah, he's got a kid and he's doing all right now.
So let me
He's
just
married.
ask. This might be a stupid question. The brig, is it kind of like prison? Or?
It's just
Yeah, but it's like
military
worse
jail.
than prison.
Military
it's like
jail.
pound you in the ass prison. Like it's bad.
I don't know. I've heard
From what
rumor.
I hear.
all I've ever heard is rumors about.
Wait, how is military jail? I feel like military jail would not be anywhere
It's
near what.
worse though because there's just straight up dudes. Like
I feel like it
I don't
might
know.
be
I've
Crazier.
heard rumors.
Wait, what do you mean straight up dudes? Fucking regular jail, straight
I
up
don't think
dudes.
he knows what he means by regular dudes.
I don't know.
Or
I
straight
just
dudes.
from what I
No.
hear is it's a
No,
pound
dude.
me
If
in the
anything, I
ass
feel like
prison.
I
military
don't
jail.
have anybody here that's been in to like tell me stories of. I can compare to have a debate on this. All I've heard is rumors both ways for both.
But tell me that fucking like a federal fucking prison wouldn't be way worse than a military prison.
Well, it is kind of like a federal prison, but it's like
It is federal prison.
It's like a what do you call that? Guantanamo Bay kind of thing,
I'm sorry, I don't know anything about it, but I highly doubt that a military prison would be worse than a regular prison.
from what
I've heard
I hear, it
rumors
is.
that military prisons are worse than regular prisons. I've heard rumors that regular prisons are worse than military prisons. I would have to say
I don't really know what to
if you
believe.
Put them on the level. They're both probably about the same.
Same, it's terrible.
I don't ever plan on
Who
going
would
there.
go
I
to
came
prison,
close one time, and I don't ever have to worry about going there now.
Yeah, it's bad. But I mean, let me tell you this: I almost got in trouble a few times while I was in because I was not only was I the NCOIC of my department, I was also the armorer of my department, which means I had to open the arms room and issue weapons to everybody.
Oh God, that's like a nightmare, dude. You fucking in charge of weapons now?
Yeah, well they made me in charge of the whole arms room, and our arms room had $100 and something thousand in inventory in there, including Miles gear and
Hey, he's whining about $100,000
night vision goggles, M60s.
I feel like Jeremy allegedly has night vision goggles.
There's so many.
Here, night vision goggles.
There's so many. There's
I don't have any
a
night
few
vision
different
goggles.
versions of the
I
M16,
hear
and when I was in the M4 was the big. M4 was the big weapon there. We had probably I don't know what like 100 and something M16 M4s.
No.
So
Total count of M16 M4s, you probably had like maybe like 120 maybe.
yeah, something like that. But you had to have a stock
and
number.
you were in charge of this. Okay, go ahead.
You had to have a stock number and a serial number on each item. So many times they would come back from the field and the few items would go missing.
That never happened. Shit doesn't. If it's in the arms room, when you're fucking garrison, nothing goes missing. Ever.
Yeah,
Hey,
because I would
well,
find
shit
it.
went missing.
I would find it always, you know what I mean? But it's allegedly it would go missing, and also the flak jackets. They were expensive. They like the jackets that like bulletproof jackets.
Yeah,
They had those. They were expensive. I issued those out. They're expensive.
Okay, so I'm just gonna-
Some of those went missing.
You guys were piece of
Allegedly.
shit soldiers. How many
Allegedly,
other
they
piece
went
of
missing.
shit soldiers are there?
Allegedly.
Hey, I was an awesome soldier. I just acquired a few things.
I was what they call 8 up and 2 down.
Hey, at the
Or
end
10 up
of
and 2 down.
If you ask
That's 8
anybody
up.
that was there at the end of that, well, anybody that was there that didn't really know me that well would say that I'm a piece of shit and a douchebag. By at the end of my tour, or to my into my 4-year term.
But I can tell you this: I went to Victorville one time, and I had the keys to the arms room with me. And Victorville is 70 miles from Fort Irwin. And they were out; all the guys were out in the field, and I was told by them that I wasn't going to have to open the arms room that night. So here I am, drunk in Victorville, and I get a call at 3 a.m. I need you to open the arms room now.
Can you, like, what happens if you don't answer your phone?
Oh, you would get in trouble because you're on call. I was on call 70 miles away.
So you're not supposed to be drinking.
No, I'm not supposed to leave the base.
Yeah.
Now here I am in Victorville with Key, drunk off Adios motherfuckers. You remember those, Jay? Adios motherfuckers? Those blue drinks?
Wait.
Here I am drunk in Victorville, and I had a pager. They actually had a pager for me, and then my pager went off at 2-something in the morning. Because the clubs in Victorville, like, they close at like 2, but like everybody's there till like 3, drunk and talking to whoever, stragglers right after you get off, trying to pull one. Anyway, Key and I are trying to pull stragglers, and I get a page at 3
that
a.m.
word that Abe came up with.
I'm driving
Oh,
back.
he came up with it. That's the first time I ever heard it was with Abe.
I'm driving back from Fort Irwin at 3:30 in the morning, going 90 miles an hour, trying to get back to base, hammered, in the middle of the desert, and I basically fell asleep on Fort Irwin Road, and Fort Irwin Road, I'm not even kidding, on each side of the road there's like 100 crosses because people fall asleep and die out there, like on that road.
There was like
God was watching over me that night, man, because
How many?
I went off the road drunk. And the next morning, I woke up and I made it back to base, but I just went back to the room. I never went to the arms room because I was supposed to open the arms room.
Wait, you went off the road?
Yeah, I went up, but I made it back to work. I didn't get hurt or nothing. I went off the road, but as I fell asleep, but I woke up because it's
Was
nothing
Key
but
in the
dirt
car
out
with
there.
you?
Key was in the car with me.
You guys both fell
We
asleep?
both fell asleep. But I woke
Are
up.
you kidding me? That motherfucker, as soon as he got in the car, was asleep.
He was asleep right when he got in the car. Anyway, I made it back to base, and they told me, and the command sergeant major of the 2nd Squadron came to my room and asked me why I didn't open the arms room. And I said I had been drinking all night in my room. Because he came at 5 a.m. knocking on my door in the barracks. And I told him I had been drinking all night. And I didn't want to and I didn't want to drive drunk, you know what I mean? But really, I was in Barstow, 70 miles away. And I made it.
God.
I made it. So anyway, the next
But
day.
are you even allowed to drink when you're on call?
No.
So how pissed was he?
The next day, he actually wasn't too mad. And they told me I was going to get what's called an Article 15, which is like if you get an infraction and when you go to high school, basically kind of thing. Like a slap on the hand, like don't do it again. But the first sergeant was my buddy.
I don't know. Jeremy's making it look like it's worse than that. Because you're making it sound like Article 15 sounds pretty bad, is it?
The first
Hold
sergeant
on.
was my.
If you're a good
But it's
soldier,
not.
if you're a good soldier, it's like the worst thing that could happen to you is Article 15. Which it's like a little slap on the wrist punishment, but it sucks to get.
Yeah, you don't want to
But-
get one of those.
but
So
why
I
the-
thought I was
hold
going to
on.
get this Article 15.
Hold on, dude. I want to know more about but why though?
Why what?
Why? Like, is it on your record?
No. Well, it's on your
Yeah.
record while you're in
Does
the
it-
military,
does
but
it
not
go
in your
off- does it
civilian
go
life.
off?
It's on your military record.
It stays with you the entire time.
Yeah.
But I never got one.
Like I said, real life, it gets knocked off after a few years.
When you go to a new duty station can't see anything that happened at your old duty station.
So basically, it's on your military record, but not in your civilian life. You know what I mean? Like
But you had tons
if
of
you
those.
get honorable discharge, you know what I mean? As long as you get an honorable discharge out of the military when you get your DD 214, you're all good. If you get anything other than honorable, then you're not good. You can't get a job at McDonald's,
Yeah, you can.
or you can, but
It's not that big of a deal.
you don't want to get that anyway. And you can't get all the benefits that come with your military career. You can't buy a home. You can't do any of that. Well, anyway, go back to my story. They told me that I was going to get an Article 15 because I was drunk on duty. But I never got in trouble for it. The actual first sergeant, I was his driver. So I used to drive him out to the field every time, you know what I mean? And we'd take out the Mermites. You remember the mermites, Jay? Take the mermites with the food out to the field.
I remember you having to do that shit.
I had to take the mermites.
I never had to do
What
that
is
shit.
that?
Yeah, because Jeremy, I don't know how it worked
They're
out.
these containers
But Jeremy,
military uses for food. Like you go to the dining facility and the cooks have them all prepared for your troop, and supply is supposed to be in charge of this shit. And you go and you pick up all the food, and the containers that come in are called mermites. But I was in the headquarters troop. A headquarters troop has several different sections, and his troop was probably about 80 people. My troop was like 350 people because we have, everybody, because headquarters troops, so we have all the staff people, our scout platoon, all the maintenance guys, everything that's not infantry is what we have. So we have 3, and they're all over the field. It would be impossible for me to deliver food to everybody. It would take me like 2 days to get where everybody is out in the field. So each individual section is in charge of picking up their own food.
but
and I don't
somehow
have to worry
Jeremy
about
would
it.
always get out of the shit.
Well, we never had to worry about stuff. But supply wasn't in charge of getting them their
But
food.
anyway, I had to have to
Only
take my
in your-
first sergeant
your
to
level.
the field. And when you go to the field, like there's out at Fort Irwin, there's a place called Four Corners. Everybody basically meets up at Four Corners, and then they go their separate ways out into the field. And it takes like
Hey,
you
just
can
so you
only
know-
drive like 40 miles an hour out to Fort Irwin, like 40, 45 at the most.
Well, that's
You
because
can't
that's
drive
how
that
fast the trucks go.
No, the trucks actually would go like 65, 70 if you really want to push it. But you don't, honestly, out there it's very dangerous. The terrain, that's why the Fort Irwin is the National Training Center, because the terrain there is the same as in Iraq. It's like the same kind of terrain, like where it's like, fucked up here and then nice in other areas.
Yeah, because you went to Iraq.
No. That's what they told us, right?
That's what they told us.
That's what they
Jeremy,
told us, right?
well, Jay went to Iraq. Was it like that?
I guess it depends on where you are in Iraq. I mean, I guess it's more similar to Afghanistan from what I've heard. I've never been to Afghanistan. But where I was at in Iraq, it was all farms. I just dealt with farmland.
Well, anyway, going out to the field, like it would take it's like a 2-hour drive driving out there, because you got to drive all the way around. You never could go straight. And then when we would drive back, you can't. At Fort Irwin, you're the opposing force. You basically, everybody else is Blue 4, which is like they go out there to train. So they're Blue 4 and we're opposing force. We're like the bad guys, basically. And we go out there, because we know the terrain so well, we go out there and just beat the shit out of them to train them, so when they go over to Iraq, what to do in case of war, with tanks and...
Hey, have you seen what Fort Irwin does now? Have you seen the new Fort Irwin?
No.
They have like legit fucking cities with real people with people who are from the Middle East, like Iraq or Afghanistan.
Really?
And they set up shop, and they have like mock cities with real, people who speak the language, and you show up and you're actually dealing with like what you would actually see in Iraq or Afghanistan.
That's crazy.
It's insane.
But anyway, I would go out there, drop off all this food, because the mermites is basically like those big old metal trays, that you would get like catering kind of thing, with the plastic that covers them, like with a plastic case to like seal it up, and it has all the food. And all the time I was the first sergeant's driver. So he basically the next day I took him to the field when they told me I was going to get that Article 15, and he basically told me, dude, I'll throw anything away that they give you. So if I ever had got one, he would have thrown it away. So it was cool. So because he was kind of like, besides the command sergeant major of that area, he was the top head. So he kind of helped me out. But coming back from the field would always suck, because you can't drive with lights at Fort Irwin. You have to use night vision goggles.
What? Why?
Because they say that it gives your position away in the field.
You always drive in blackout when you're like moving. You always go blackout so nobody can see you.
So
you're always in constant training,
so-
even though you're not training.
So my eyesight sucks.
No. When you're out in the field, you're training.
But I'm saying he was just delivering food, though.
Yeah. But
During
but,
training,
but during
okay.
training, you're the bad guys. You're delivering
If he
food
gets
to the
killed-
bad guys.
if he gets
I
killed-
get kills out there, they can't get their food. Because
Gotcha.
we have miles gear on each vehicle. Miles gear is kind of like playing laser tag, but with real weapons. But they have blank rounds.
It's not like playing laser tag. It is laser tag. It's
But
a
they're
giant game
blank
laser
rounds, So like if a tank shot me out there, like because everybody's driving with tanks and fucking all sorts of shit out there. If you get hit with a tank, out there with a blank round, your miles gear goes off and you can't move anymore. You're not supposed to move your vehicle. You're basically supposed to play dead.
So that would happen and you have to sit there?
Yeah, but I never got caught because I would drive nights out.
Normally, if you get killed, you come back in.
But I never got killed. But you blackout, you have to drive blacked out.
Was it fun being in the field?
But no.
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 How many times
But
how
anyway,
many times do you guys have to go in the field?
17 days out of the month.
For me, it was a couple days out of the month.
Because
No
Jeremy,
way.
somehow, this fucker right here got out of it. I'd be out there 17 days out of the month. I would come in stinking. You get no shower out there. No, it just sucks.
17 days?
17 days in the field, no shower.
How did I see you so much at the house?
Because Jeremy
Those
and I
are
would
days
always
out.
get a 4-day and a 3-day.
We'd always have two weekends out of the month. We
How
have
did
a
you guys
4-day
not
and
get
3-day.
along being roommates when you guys never saw each other?
because he's not out. He wasn't out in the field as much as he's saying he was.
I kind of came in quite a bit because I was supply. I wasn't supposed to
truth
come
comes
in, but I was the first sergeant's driver, so he would take me in.
This fucker's
and say,
like
"You can come
17
back
days
in."
straight. And I'm like, oh, this
He would
motherfucker
drive out
never been in the
there.
field
My first sergeant
70
would
days
drive
straight.
out there. He was a cool guy. He would drive out there just to pick me up so he could take me in and like fucking so I could drive him the next day because I was his driver. Because the first sergeant can't drive; he has to have a driver. I don't
That
know
was
why
the one
that
thing
is.
though, because everything you're complaining about is when I worked for Sergeant Wilburn.
Yeah.
Sergeant Wilburn always protected his people, and he never wanted to go to the field, so we never went to the fucking field.
Yeah, so he figured out a way to get out of it. But my fucking boss always wanted to be out in the field, so I'd have to go. But here's the crazy story. When we'd come back in from the field, you weren't supposed to drive with lights on. Now, I can't see for shit. I'm supposed to wear glasses, but I never did. So I'm wearing these
I've
night
never
vision
seen you wear
goggles.
glasses.
I know, because I fucking never wear them. I'm wearing night vision goggles, but I'm not kidding. I can't see anything, so I'm just driving like this. Back with my boss in the car.
Reminds me of Bert Kreischer.
So many times, dude. I'm probably sure I could have went off like a cliff, or like there's all sorts of like the terrain out there is very bad. Like you're coming back, I mean, there's 50-foot cliffs that you could just drop off. So I'm driving back just like this.
Oh, by the way, the night vision that he's talking about using was the binocular night vision. So it had two holes you look through, and then one hole that the scope that you see through the scope on.
Yeah, and it would hook up to my.
So
Kevlar.
you had no depth perception, zero depth perception, and you're driving.
Yeah, and it would hook
And
up
you're
to my
going 40
Kevlar.
miles an hour?
Yeah.
I'm going 40, 50 miles
Hey,
an
and
hour
you're just,
back in this
you're driving
fucking
just
desert.
like, well, I hope I'm staying on the road right now because you can't tell how far you are away from things.
Well, it's a fucking Humvee, so whatever.
Because I know, like, basically, I know the direction of which I'm supposed to go. I just don't know the terrain I'm going
Hey,
over.
if you crash, like would everybody
Oh, I
hear about
flipped
it?
my vehicle twice.
You flipped it?
Yeah, they had to tip it back over. Because
Humvees-
my Humvee didn't weigh, but I think my Humvee weighed like 1,300 pounds.
The Humvees got flipped all the time.
So they got flipped all
1,300,
the
that
time.
does not
But
sound
I flipped
right.
my
That's not right.
vehicle.
Dude, you were fucking wet. My Ranger weighed more than that. Our Ranger weighed like
Yeah,
3,000.
but I remember they tipped me over. They tipped me over twice because I ended up upside down because I was driving back from the field with night vision goggles and I couldn't see anything. But my boss, we were always okay because our thing had roll bars in it. It was so like
your smart car fucking Humvee.
these Humvees. These
1,300
Humvees
pounds.
are made to fucking withstand.
Hey, the Humvees are not easy to tip over, but what's fucked up is when you're a driver,
Yeah, I tipped
you're
them.
fucking first sergeant, whoever you're driving for sits shotgun, and they're telling you where you need to go because
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
busy commanding things and you're driving for them.
But I have my Humvee.
Well, they get ambitious because they're not fucking driving. They'll just tell you to go over some
Go
random
this way.
fucking hill.
Go
Next
this
thing
way.
you know, you're driving off a fucking cliff because that's the way they told you to go.
Yeah, because you have to do what they say, and if you don't do what they say, it's insubordination, and they'll fucking you
By
have to do
cliff,
what
I'm
they say.
talking like a 5-foot drop off, which will just roll that motherfucker over.
But my first sergeant, I remember he took me. He took me over this crazy terrain, and we flipped that vehicle. But yeah, I mean, you could have died out there. I mean, there's people that died out there a couple times.
Yeah, bad things happen.
We had different vehicles out there too. We had OSVs, we have N1s. There's all sorts of vehicles out there. I mean, when you go to the motor pool, you'll see hundreds of different vehicles, different kinds. Strikers. Remember the Striker was like a tank with wheels.
Yeah.
Hey, can you tell Bert and Abe about when the gator went supposedly missing
So allegedly this fucking gator, which is like a little...
in Iraq?
You know those You normally see them around school campuses.
Yeah, I know what a gator is.
Yeah, like a little John Deere fucking
Yeah.
golf cart type thing. It's used for like gardening type things. Well, allegedly, when I was in Kuwait, I saw one that wasn't being used, and me and a buddy allegedly brought it with us into Iraq. And then we used it there for...
No, but tell the story that you told me step by step. That shit is mind blowing. How that I would have never fucking done that if I was in the military.
Hey, Abe's over here bitching about his fucking $100,000 worth of inventory. I was also my unit armor. I was in charge of almost $10 million worth of equipment.
Crazy.
He's like, I had about 100,
You got to sign this for
120 M4s, M16s.
It might have been $1 million. I don't know. It was quite a bit.
I had about 340 M16s, almost 200 M4s.
Ryan, it was the size of this room, full of weapons.
Well, his was about half this room. Mine was this room.
No,
Well, anyways.
Alan's room was pretty big.
So because I was the unit armor, I had, those big 40-foot shipping containers?
Yeah.
I had 2 of those from all my equipment. And so I fucking cleared out enough space in the front of one of them, and we waited till the night before our connexes or shipping containers were getting picked up to get shipped into Iraq. And so we went and we fucking cut the lock on it, hot wired it, drove it over there, and loaded it up in there. And then the next morning, I sat there and watched very nervously up until I watched that damn container get loaded on the truck. As soon as I saw it in the truck, I was like, sweet. Got to Iraq, fucking mobbed that thing everywhere. But because me and the gentleman who helped me acquire this alleged vehicle were low ranking, we had people constantly eyeing it and trying to figure out where it came from. We were lying left and right about whose it was, and it finally got to the point where we had nobody else to lie about and who owned this thing, and so we talked a couple of people into saying it was theirs.
They lived on base, or
Yeah, there was like
No, it was in Iraq. They didn't live on
yeah,
base.
this was in Iraq. Because once we got to Iraq,
okay, explain to me. Is it like tents you guys live in, or do you guys have actual barracks, or
we had 20-man tents, or 18. It was 18 guys per tent.
Fuck that.
You had your own little personal space, and we had plywood that we'd put up in between us, so you had your own little cubicle set up.
Would anybody steal from anybody?
I never had anything stolen from me. I heard other guys had shit missing. More often than not, it was because everybody became so close that you were just swapping stuff all the time. If I wanted to borrow a movie from you, if you weren't around, I'd just fucking take it.
Yeah.
I came home with a whole bunch of movies that I didn't go there with, and I also had a bunch of movies I was missing a bunch of movies.
Yeah, that's happy. I could tell you that about the military. All my CDs, I had hundreds of CDs in the military, and I don't know what any of those fuckers are now because everyone just borrows shit.
Hey, remember riding
never
in the car with
return it.
Abe?
What?
Riding in the car with Abe while he's driving?
Oh yeah, I switched out CDs every second.
Hey,
I don't know.
Brittany, you know those the big CD books that has the 4 CDs per page?
Yeah.
Abe would have one of those sitting in his lap while he was driving, flipping through it. And
30 seconds into a song.
yeah, he would let you maybe get a minute into a song, and then he'd change the whole CD. All right, you gotta hear this song. You gotta hear this song. You gotta hear this one.
Real fast, go back to. All right, so the container got there.
Oh,
You
no, so containers successfully arrived into Iraq.
Well,
Boom,
you
had
talked
it.
a couple people in
We were
the-
mobbing it around. Fucking, we finally ended up having to talk to the sergeant who was in charge of the dining facility, or our head cook. We made a deal with him, look, fucking, we'll give you exclusive use of this fucking thing. All you have to do is say it's yours. He was like, well, where'd it come from? I'm like, well, I could tell you, but just don't fucking worry about it. Just know that it won't come back on you. Just fucking say it's yours, and, we reserve the right to come take it whenever we want. Otherwise, we'll be reassured. I'll make sure it disappears. And so he was like, cool, and so that's how it went until fucking... He started letting the cooks, the low-ranking guys, who I was also buddies with, fucking destroy the fuck out of it, and then it stopped working after about 6 months. But it's crazy because about the 3rd month mark, this email got sent out to every supply person, that had left or had left in the previous 4 or 5 months to Iraq about missing gator with the serial number and everything of what went missing. And thank God that, most military guys are lazy as fuck and never pursued that because it could have easily been found.
So, I don't know.
Where did you keep the gator at, though?
I'm confused. Like, okay, but I'm saying like the guy that was in charge of that, like he probably got an extreme amount of trouble, right? I'm guessing.
Well, it just went missing, so it was stolen. All that happened was a report was done up on it that was stolen, and fucking nobody ever got blamed for it.
That you know of. Someone had to have gotten in trouble.
No,
Because
how
those
the system
gators are
works.
expensive. I mean, they're like $10,000.
No, I know how the system works.
Where did you get it in the first place?
I don't know whose it was.
He acquired it.
But I mean, was the keys were in the ignition? And you
No,
just took it?
you're not listening. I said we hotwired it.
Oh, you hotwired it.
Yeah, we fucking pulled out the fucking little ignition, the cable, the wiring out from the back of the ignition, just fucking twisted it together and started right up.
And you kept it ever since.
Granted, I'm
huh?
not the one that did this. I obviously don't have those skills, but apparently,
Was he Mexican?
nope. It was a country boy.
And how long did you have this vehicle?
For a few months, and it was like, third month mark was when that email went out. It's hilarious. They took that long for me to notice it was fucking missing.
And you guys had that thing the whole time?
Yeah,
Where did you park it?
we just kept it by our tent.
And you were just driving it forever?
Yeah, we were mobbing around our little base with it.
But you're not supposed to. Like, does people have cars out there or no?
Yeah, we had a couple vehicles that were on the base, but I mean, like, you didn't really have access to them. But I mean, we had a bunch of military vehicles too, Humvees and trucks, and
Yeah. So no one ever asked about the gator?
I mean, people would ask like, "Oh, whose is it?" Because people constantly ask like, "Oh, where'd you get this from?" And I'd be like, "Oh, because we took over for a Marine unit." I'd be like, "Oh, it's the supply from the Marine unit. It was theirs, so we have it for now." But then like that story only held out for like 2 weeks because 2 weeks later the Marines were fucking gone, and then the supply guys I worked with were like, "Well, hey, what's up with that gator? Wasn't it theirs?" I'm like, "Oh, well, come to find out, it was this other person's."
Damn, that's crazy. Hey, so tell you about when you'd fucking like when like the locals when they'd start bombing. So you guys would basically hate them. So you guys would break into their fucking DVD stands and.
Our command let the local Iraqis around our base set up little shops. So we built like a little shop, or we let them build a little shopping center. Basically, it was like little wooden shacks where they could sell like, goods to us, like fucking 100% more than we can get it from their markets, because they'd sell us bootleg. I don't understand how they would allow them to sell us bootleg DVDs, and we were allowed to bring home these bootleg DVDs. Even though it's illegal as fuck for these,
It's a federal offense.
for us to have these bootleg DVDs, we were legally allowed to bring them back.
I remember you had them.
Yeah, because it would be like 6 movies on one disc. I still have some of them,
I have them now.
allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, and so I hated these fuckers. 'Cause you go talk to them, and they would try to charge you like $10 for a movie that they probably paid a penny for, and they'd just try to hustle you and fuck you over, get as much money out of you as you could. And for whatever reason, I built up a hatred for them because they hated us, and so we'd go. Me and our buddies would allegedly go steal stuff from their little stands. We'd just go hop over there. We'd go lift up the little roofs and just hop in and take a bunch of shit and fucking leave.
No, but you're saying that like you were telling me that you guys started doing that because the days that they bombed you guys, they wouldn't show up for work.
Oh no, I mean that wasn't really the reason behind it, but that's what we would just notice that stuff that like if we were going to get bombed that day. It was like half of them wouldn't show up.
So like
half the little shops would be closed, and then boom, mortar attack would happen. Midday, and it's like, oh, these fuckers didn't come to work because they knew something was going to happen.
that's so fucking. Oh, I'd be so angry.
Yeah. And what would they have inside there besides the DVDs and shit like that?
DVDs, blankets, a lot of like those Mexican blankets they would sell. I thought those were exclusively sold in TJ for years until I went to Iraq, and they were there too.
Like the ones with like the leopard print and shit like that?
Yeah.
That's funny.
Do
they sell Gatorade?
what else did they sell there? It was stupid shit. You can get video cameras,
They sell
digital
any
cameras. Do what?
They didn't sell any alcohol or nothing like
No,
that?
that was
You guys
illegal
weren't
for
allowed
them
to drink out there, right?
No, we weren't supposed to have alcohol. I mean, granted, we had a little underground system of alcohol going. Like, I had alcohol sent to me a couple of times. Then I had acquaintance that his wife regularly sent him alcohol, like, every couple of days to get
So would
2
you
new
guys
bottles.
like fucking hide it? Like, I mean, was your tent
You didn't really
on
have to
dirt?
hide anything because nobody, like, as long as you didn't let, like, certain people know, because like certain NCOs like were cool with things.
Did you have like a lockbox kind of thing, like where you could lock your shit?
Yeah, everybody had their own fucking shit, but I never locked my shit. My shit never got. The only time my shit was searched was when I got in trouble.
What would you get in trouble for out there?
What would I get in trouble for? I got in trouble for what was it? Possession.
I hate Jeremy telling the story because he always tells the short version. The long version is trippy. You tell the short. Like I've had Jeremy tell the story so many
I'm
times.
so hoping I was going to get through this conversation without this
How
story.
could you not? It's part of the...
He tells the short story, and everyone's like, "Oh, okay." And I'm like, "No,
Yeah.
the long version's trippy as fuck. You'd be mind blown."
You mind blown for real. Now,
How he got... Yeah.
so Jeremy, explain to me. Did you go into like the city?
No, just give you the long version.
I want to hear the long version of what you got.
the story.
caught up.
Detail. Don't.
The story they want
story.
is me being the story of me being a bit of a drug dealer
in Iraq.
Nice.
in Iraq.
In Iraq.
With on deployment with the Army. Sorry, everybody, but this podcast was entirely too fucking long, so we're cutting it into 2. And next week will be the story about how I how I almost ruined my life.
Well, to an extent, you ruined your life.
Well, I ruined my military career.
Yeah.
That's for sure. I guess I could have stayed in and worked my way back to it. That 1-star major I told you, or talk about at the end. He really wanted me to stay in and like try to rebuild my career from scratch.
You were making pretty decent money. I think you would have.
Well, going back down to an E1.
Well, yeah, after that, after what you're going to talk
Yeah.
about, yeah, of course. But
Yeah.
I'm saying if you would have kept going the progress you're at, I think it would have been pretty beneficial for you.
Yeah, it would have. But anyways, we're wrapping it up here. Everyone needs to follow us on Twitter at the ModeCast. And any suggestions or any corrections on where we fuck up and talk about something we really know nothing about, email us at themodecast@gmail.com.
Or if you guys have any topics in mind, if you guys want us to notch down on a certain topic, go and sit at themodecast@gmail.com. Or if you want to be on the ModeCast, hit us up at themodecast@gmail.com.
So this is the ModeCast out.
ModeCast out.
ModeCast out.